So great. That brings me to my first question about the topic of leadership. So my first question would be, what is your preferred leadership style?
My preferred leadership style is one which encourages people whom I'm working with to give them all the support that they can meet their full potential. I don't believe in being dictatorial or telling people how to do their work. I prefer to support, like I figure people come with a certain set of skills and they use those skills and I give them the support they need to get better and better at what they're doing. And it kind of goes in line with what we believe as Ktunaxa people, that there isn't any one individual that knows everything. You know, there's in ancient times with our people, we always had leaders for different functions. You know, we would have like spiritual leaders and medicinal leaders and geographers and house builders, and you know, so that people had their specialty, and then you would support that person to make them better at what they're good at. And so that's really what I believe leaders I think are best when they really do just help people to be better at what the person's good at.
Right. That's really great. So what do you do? I mean, this sort of really segues into my next question in empowering others and the people that you're sort of leading. So what do you do as a leader to empower and motivate the others around you?
Well, you always recognize when people are doing good work. And I also always support people and encourage everyone that, you know, we're all human. Some days I encourage everyone, first of all, to do your best. Some days your best is going to just totally amaze everybody. You're going to just blow the socks off everyone. Other days, your best is going to be a little mediocre. But that's just the way, so long as you're doing your best.
Great. So after talking about how you empower and motivate others around you, what's one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in yourself as a leader? One of the biggest lessons that you've learned as a leader?
Oh my. Well, I know I've learned that it's, I guess it's what I've already mentioned, that a team, when you're working with a team, that is very important that everyone within the team knows that they're important to the success of the team. And so it's just a matter of supporting and making sure that when you're a leader, that you're always aware of what's going on around you, so that you know that every other member of the team is working to their best, and that you give support where it's necessary, and you also give credit where it's necessary. And I think that's probably one of the life lessons that we learn after a while, is that, you know, we're quick to jump on someone when they're making a mistake, and a little slower to jump on them when they're doing well and tell them that they've done well. Yeah. So, you know, I remember that through the Tribal Council that we went through a time where we were trying to encourage all of our various directors that they always recognize when people that are working, that they are supervising, people that are working with them, that they always recognize when they're doing well. And so we had these little buttons made up that said, "Catch me doing something right." You know, so it's that kind of thing. It's recognizing when people are doing good and giving them credit for that.
The positive reinforcement.
The positive reinforcement all the time, because you get so much, at least I've been able to get so much more done. And I think that just in my career, you know, it's pretty amazing some of the things that we have been able to get done in my own community of St. Mary's Indian Band.
All right, this goes into my second last question. Just a broad question, just to put it out there. Did you intentionally go into leadership, or was it something that just happened?
I think I didn't intentionally go into it, but I think that it was one of those things that it was meant to be. My grandfather was the last non-elected chief in my community. He was the last. It's not really hereditary, because it's the people in the community would have seen the leadership potential in him when he was a very young man and put him into that position. and he, within just a few months of his death, had called together all of our people again, the heads of the families, and they had chosen who that chieftainship would move on to. And it was in 1953, and at that point, the Indian agent came into the reserve and said, you can't do this, you have to have elections like it tells you to do in the Indian Act. So he was the last non-elected chief. And because of, that experience in my family, my mother always, she kind of raised me in that, with knowing how to handle a responsibility, I think is the best way of putting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So for my own personal knowledge, what advice would you give someone such as myself going into a leadership position for the first time?
Well, go into it with all the enthusiasm and vigor and everything else that you have as a young person, but knowing that you don't have all the answers. In fact, you probably don't even know all the questions to ask, because that's the way I was when I started. Very young, I thought when I was first elected chief, I was 28 years old, and I just figured that, okay, like I had been to college, so, and I had worked for the community already, so I figured, I had pretty much, maybe not all the answers, but most of them.
Right.
And it didn't take me very long to realize that no, there's a lot here, and just to realize the people that you have around you, their strengths, and learn how to support each other, so that you can lean on them when you need to, because you will need to, and they can always lean on you when they need to.
Right.
So that's something to learn. The
Sharing.
people that you have around you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's not a sign of weakness in a leader to recognize that sometimes they need the support of the people around them. In fact, I think that you're so much stronger when you realize that.
Right, I was just thinking that actually shows strength, to be able to know how to reach out to somebody and know when you should be reaching out to somebody to gain knowledge.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Sophie, that concludes the interview, so I
All right.
wanted to thank you on behalf of the Chinook Scholars as well as myself. I really want to thank you for taking this moment to allow me to interview you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks.
And good luck to the Chinook Scholars.
Thank you.